They thought they had the perfect trap, an elite female Apache pilot, electronically blinded and forced down in hostile territory, hunted for sport while war criminals bid on her fate in a live-streamed auction. What they didn't know was that Major Elena Carter had survived 3 wars and earned 19 confirmed kills through sheer tactical brilliance. What they couldn't imagine was that their helpless prey was about to turn their hunting ground into a graveyard. And what they'd never guess was that this hunt would end with half a village in ruins and a lesson that would echo through military circles for decades. Major Elena Spectre Carter guided her AH-64 Apache through Syrian airspace at 0352 hours, the darkness broken only by her night vision display. Her co-pilot and gunner, Lieutenant Ryan Blaze Thompson, ran diagnostics from the seat behind her. "All green back here, Spectre. Hellfire missiles armed and ready. Hopefully no fireworks tonight," Thompson said, his Boston accent cutting through the calm static. Elena had flown with Thompson for 16 months. At 24, he was young, but his steady hands and cool nerves held up under pressure. Trouble hit at 0359 hours. Elena's primary navigation display flickered, then went black. "Blaze, you seeing issues back there?" "Negative. Everything looks..." Thompson's words cut off as his screens dissolved into static. "What the hell, Spectre?" "I'm losing everything." Elena tried the backup systems already dead. "Radio to base." Silence. Then she saw it, a surface-to-air missile trail streaking past, close enough to glimpse its exhaust flame. Elena threw the Apache into violent evasive maneuvers as more SAMs erupted from the dark. Multiple launches, bearing 280. Thompson shouted. This wasn't random. Someone had been waiting, the electronic warfare too sophisticated, the timing too precise. "They knew we were coming," Elena said grimly, diving toward the deck. "This whole thing's a setup." Vehicle lights converged from 3 directions. They'd been herded into a kill box with military precision. "Fuel pressures dropping fast," Thompson reported. "We took shrapnel. Multiple system warnings. They had maybe 8 minutes of flight time left." The Apache hit the ground hard in a ruined village, now just rubble. Elena shut down the engines and assessed. Thompson was unconscious, blood trickling from a head wound where shrapnel had pierced his helmet. As enemy vehicles crested the ridges, Elena grabbed her sidearm and survival kit. Dust settled, revealing 9 trucks and 3 armored personnel carriers. Overkill for a simple capture. "Check the bird for intel, but don't damage it," a voice called in accented English. "Our employer wants everything intact, especially the pilot." These weren't run-of-the-mill insurgents professionals, hired to take her alive. Elena dragged Thompson behind a collapsed wall as boots crunched through debris. A surveillance drone buzzed overhead, its thermal imaging locking on. Then speakers crackled, and Elena's heart froze. Her 6-year-old daughter's voice filled the air. "Mommy, when are you coming home? I drew your helicopter." Someone had hacked her personal comms, stolen family moments, and weaponized them. "Major Elena Carter," a cold voice announced. "We know about your daughter, Lily, your ex-husband, David, your mother in Seattle. We know you have 19 confirmed kills and helped capture Colonel Nikolai Volkov 3 years ago." Elena's blood turned to ice. Volkov, the war criminal she'd tracked after his refugee camp massacre, was supposed to be in maximum security. "Colonel Volkov sends his regards. This operation is being live-streamed to interested parties. Current bid, $75,000. The winner decides your fate after capture." They weren't just hunting her, they were broadcasting it as entertainment, her humiliation up for auction. Thompson stirred, eyes fluttering open, alert despite the wound. "Leave me," he whispered. "You're faster alone." "Not happening, Blaze." The drone hovered as tactical teams closed in. Then Elena spotted a partially collapsed entrance to an underground storage area. They slipped into what was once a basement weapons cache. Wooden crates split open, revealing RPGs, ammo, and improvised explosives. "Jesus," Thompson whispered. "This place is an armory." Elena scanned the weapons with practiced efficiency. Most ammo was corroded, but the explosives were intact, including military-grade plastic explosives with electronic detonators. "Blaze, how's your demo training?" He managed a weak grin. "Boston boy, remember? Been blowing stuff up since I was 10. Boots moved above as mercenaries searched systematically. The speakers crackled. We know you're down there. Current bids now $125,000. Cold rage built in Elena. They were treating this like a game while Lily watched cartoons at home, oblivious to her mother being hunted for sport. How much longer, Blaze? 3 minutes, Spectre. When this goes off, it's going to be epic. Elena positioned herself at a ventilation shaft and keyed her radio, knowing the mercenaries were monitoring. If anyone's on this frequency, we're in a basement weapons cache, 3 clicks northeast of our crash site, about to engage multiple hostiles. Laughter echoed through the speakers. Still hoping for rescue, Major? We've jammed comms in a 60 kilometers radius. That's what she needed to confirm their electronic warfare equipment was near their command post, expensive and fragile. Blaze, we ready? Thompson held up the detonator, pale but resolute. On your word, Spectre. This is Major Elena Spectre Carter, United States Army, she said clearly into the radio. To whoever's watching this sick show, you picked the wrong pilot. Then she laughed, not desperate, but the dangerous laugh of a predator who'd lured her prey into a trap. Blaze, she said, voice calm and lethal, light it up. Thompson pressed the detonator. The explosion ripped through the building like divine fury, the shockwave shattering windows blocks away. Carefully placed charges collapsed their building and 2 adjacent structures, burying the mercenaries' command post under tons of rubble. When the dust settled, eerie silence replaced chaos. Elena and Thompson, braced against reinforced pillars, survived in a pocket of the basement's partial collapse. They climbed through wreckage to the surface. Where the command vehicle once stood, a crater remained, filled with twisted metal and fried electronics. 3 survivors stumbled from an overturned truck, but then Elena heard the sweetest sound, approaching helicopters. This is Reaper 31, calling any friendly forces. A voice crackled through a now-working radio. We have your emergency beacon, inbound for extraction. 2 Apaches crested the ridge, chain guns spinning, followed by a Black Hawk. The jamming equipment was gone, buried. Spectre, this is Cobra 12, came a familiar voice. Elena grinned, recognizing Captain Sarah Kim, a former student. Better late than never, Cobra. The Apaches split, using thermal imaging to pinpoint remaining mercenaries and neutralize them with precision fire. Elena watched with pride as Sarah executed textbook close-air support. As the Black Hawk lifted off, Elena keyed her radio one last time. Tell Colonel Volkov his money was wasted. Tell him American pilots don't break, and if he threatens my family again, I'll come for him myself. 3 weeks later, Elena sat in a Pentagon briefing room, facing senior officers. The investigation uncovered Volkov's revenge plot, a network of mercenaries and hackers funded by war criminals to humiliate American forces. The live stream was traced, leading to several arrests. Major Carter, your actions prevented a major propaganda victory for our enemies, the general said. Your tactical innovation will be integrated into survival training. He paused. One more thing. We've got intel that Volkov has additional contracts on your life. We can offer protection, relocation if needed. Elena shook her head respectfully. Sir, I have a counter-proposal. Transfer me to training command. I want to teach other pilots what I learned in that basement. Sometimes the best defense is letting your enemy think they've won. 6 months later, Elena stood before a class of young Apache pilots at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Behind her, a tactical diagram of the Syrian village, now a case study in survival and improvised warfare. The enemy will try to turn your strengths against you, she told them. They'll study your patterns, exploit weaknesses, and make your capabilities traps. But the moment they think they've got you, you're most dangerous. A young lieutenant raised her hand. Ma'am, what if they threaten your family? How do you handle that pressure? Elena smiled, thinking of Lily's latest drawing of her mom teaching pilots. You remember, you're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for everyone who needs you to come home. That makes you unstoppable. Outside, Apaches practiced formation against the Kentucky sky. Elena watched with pride, knowing each pilot carried lessons from a basement full of explosives, where a trapped pilot turned hunters into hunted. The war criminals behind Volkov's plot were still out there, but they'd learned a hard truth. American pilots aren't prey predators. And when cornered, they become far more dangerous than their enemies ever imagined. The legend of the pilot who turned a death trap into a graveyard would echo for decades, a reminder that the most dangerous person is the one your enemy thinks they've already defeated. From which city are you reading this story? Drop it in the comments.